So you want to win, do you? You think you have what it takes to beat the best in Fortnite Battle Royale. But to be honest, that isn't actually a too far-fetched thing to think. If you're still looking to try and get some tips and tricks on the game, and also still looking for that majestic #1 placement in the top 100, then this video might be right up your street. So let's get a brief background to Fortnite. It's a 1 versus 100 Battle Royale game with the ability to either play solo or squads or duos. The game is totally free, and it's available on multiple platforms: PC, Mac. Who plays it on Mac? Xbox and PlayStation. But we need to break down the fundamentals of the game to understand exactly what we're dealing with and trying to see how we can get that first win. So a huge part about winning is understanding what's going on. Now, Fortnite is completely different to other Battle Royale games in the fact that it's very, very involved with quite pleasant graphics and quite a cartoony arcadey aspect. Now, if you're someone who plays PlayerUnknown's and you're moving to Fortnite, you might have a hard time of understanding some of the physics. For example, you won't be jumping out of the plane usually like you do on PlayerUnknown's. There's no aiming down sights unless you count the scoped weapons, and you're also probably going to get very, very enraged with the building technique. But that's okay, we can deal with that. So first things first, what I would do personally is jump into a game. Get the feel of it, understand some of the controls, and start to learn how the game works. It's okay to lose. It's okay to not get a kill, and it's okay to fluff all of your shots into the hill behind him and probably swear a few times at the computer. But that's all part of the learning process because you, as a person, are going to progress by failure. Now, once you finally get past the stage of understanding how bad you are at the game, this is where you can actually start to progress. Now, a few basics I want you to understand is that the game is very quick-paced. It's a very small map compared to other Battle Royales, and it's quite intense. The main benefits of the game to myself and new players is that there is a plethora of guns and weapons and traps available, so you can have plenty of chances to understand what each gun does. So the first thing that's going to happen once you jump into a game is you're going to be welcomed by the very weird but interesting warm-up area. Now, in this place, you can kind of get used to some of the controls, use a few guns, and actually build a little bit if you go looking for materials. You can also kind of, tell who the more advanced players are. So when you jump into a game, there are two strategies that I would personally take. You either have the strategy where you wait really late and try and get a far distance away from people to try and gather some guns and get to the end zone without much hassle. Or you can dive straight into it like a big boy and grab a gun and start slapping people to all parts of Tomato Town. Either way, you're going to endure both of them at any point during the game, so it's actually quite fun to try both. Personally, if you're starting the game and you're fairly new, I would pick the first one of playing fairly cheapish and looking for different areas where you can learn to play the game. Because pretty much your first few games, you're gonna suck. Let's be honest, we all did. So I would jump as late as possible and try and fly to a remote location away from everyone else. From here, you can try to land on the top of rooftops and break into the rooftops to try and find the gold chests. You can also find loot on different levels, but the gold chests ultimately give you the best weapons. During the early game phases, I would grab a shotgun and maybe a pistol if there's nothing else available. Shotguns are really good damage-wise as opposed to other Battle Royales, so you need to keep this on you at all times. Once you found an AR, either an AK or an M4, or maybe even a SCAR if you're lucky, then you're pretty much set to go. Now, you don't get many bullets in this game, so do be aware of how much ammo you have at all opportunities to make sure you're not just fluffing them away from other people and running out of ammunition early. Now, during different situations, you will need to use your guns appropriately. For close quarters combat, I would always recommend either the pump shotgun or the shotgun that kind of looks like a box but does serious damage, and you can fire more rapidly than the pump. They're both really sick for close range, and don't judge a shotgun in this game. They are brutal. At medium to long range, you're probably looking at either the sniper or more the ARs, and your kind of desperation guns will always be your pistol. So once you've looted up and got all of your weapons, you're probably not going to have too much resources unless you've been destroying the building as you've been going through it. Personally, if you want to learn the building system, I would go and smash a few trees and just learn how to use the building system to make yourself kind of the best bit of defense when you get into a fight. Pretty much when you get into a fight, you want to be putting down some kind of defense so that people can't easily shoot you. Otherwise, you're going to get slapped up when you progress into the game. Because a lot of people will be building high, and they'll be building deep, and they'll be building very, very defensively. And if you can't build, you're going to struggle. Also, try not to fall off from a height. there is full damage. This box here that I've built is pretty much the best thing I've seen in the game. A lot of pro players that I've seen have been using this technique where you build upwards with the walls surrounding, and you can look over and try and scout some people out. Try to learn how to build this, and this will be very effective during the game at most opportunities. Most people tend to build walls, and a lot of people tend to build stairs. Stairs are really good for getting over obstacles, into obstacles, and over people to try and give yourself a height advantage. Now, there's not much more I can say about the building system, apart from it goes wood, stone to metal. Those are your only 3 resources you can use to build with metal being the strongest and wood being the weakest. As with all Battle Royale games, you have to make it towards the center of the game area, which is controlled by the fog. Now, the fog, if you walk into the fog, it will do severe damage to you the later in the game, but some people use it as a good tactic. Usually early on, you can kind of strafe with the wall, and late game, I would use the wall so that you can make sure no one's behind you and you're not just in the middle of no man's land. Now, when it comes to your inventory slot, you want to try and pick up the blue items. And what I mean by the blue items, they'll look like potions, and they're basically your shields. They're going to serve as your armor during the fights. So pretty much you could be fighting with potentially 200 HP, with 100% shield and 100 HP in usual. Certain potions will heal so much, with the big round potion dealing the most. A good strategy for this is to get yourself to 50 shield and use a big potion, which will take you to 100. Now, with healing, anything that's a bandage or looks like a first aid kit is going to be your healing. Bandages heal less than a first aid kit, and a first aid kit heals you up to full. Bandages only take you to a maximum of 75 HP. Always try to have one inventory slot with maybe multiple shields in it, and also one for bandages. Now, you're pretty much ready to go and fight. Now, when you're looking for fights, the gaming area is pretty open, and it's quite easy to see people. Like I said before, it's very intense and it's very involved, so you're going to be having fights pretty often. From what I've learned over time, when you crouch, it makes you more accurate. Also, if you hold down an automatic rifle, your bullets will strafe a bit more just because of recoil, to kind of add a realistic aspect to it. Some good techniques to use when you're fighting, if you're close range, try to work on your jumping. Jumping above players and shotgunning them is really, really effective because it makes you harder to hit, and also you can kind of get above people and try and shoot down on their head. When it comes to ARs, not so much. If you've only got an AR in your close quarters, I would still recommend jumping, but you're probably going to have a hard time if they've got a shotgun. Long distance, take your time. As obvious as that sounds, that's pretty much the best thing to do, but people don't tend to do it. People tend to fire a lot of AR shots over roughly 50 meters, and they don't land anything. So make sure you take your time and try not to panic. I always look to move quite a lot, try and change my positions, and try and make sure I'm always looking for the first target. You can use techniques such as looking round walls, which is really, really, dickish, but it's a technique and you can use it, and I would recommend it if you're trying to find people who are maybe sniping you or have a better gun than you. It's an annoying technique, but it's a helpful technique. During the game, you're going to find multiple different guns. You're going to find silver guns and grey guns, which are common. Green guns are uncommon. Blue is rare. Purple is epic. Orange is legendary, and then yellow is mythic. Yellow is very hard to come across, but they're really good guns if you can find them. So if you can find a yellow gun, don't chuck it. Try to keep it and try to use it, because they are the best guns, dealing the most damage to anyone you're fighting. If you find a grenade, the best thing I would do is just practice by throwing it at places and trying to understand the physics of the grenade, because once you start using them, they could be very, very effective, but they're very difficult to start with. But when you start using them, they'll be very, very good at taking out players and also effective for destroying buildings. So that's pretty much all the tips I want to give you guys. There's more advanced tips that I would give you, but I don't think they would really kind of have any effect on you at the moment, and you're more than likely going to learn them during the game. A couple of ones I didn't mention that you guys should know about is when you're looking for a gold chest, you need to listen for it. If you're close to a gold chest, it will make a noise, and this is the noise it will make. So you want to build and destroy the building towards the noise, but make sure you don't get rid of the floor it's on, otherwise it will destroy the chest. And another really good tip for you guys is watching other people play. People streaming or people who are making highlight montages, make sure you watch them, because they're playing really well and they have some really good techniques you guys can use to win the game. And probably the best bit of information I could possibly give is just to enjoy the game. Fortnite is a very fun game, it's a very casual game and shouldn't be taken too seriously. There's plenty of opportunities to play play against good players and also very good opportunities to play against bad players. The best thing about games like this is that they're just for fun. And that's something that every game should be looking to promote, is making the game fun, enjoyable, and just having a good time with it. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video. There might be quite a few tips you guys want to include. And if you do have some really good ones, please leave them in the comments beneath. Obviously, I haven't got a huge amount of time in Fortnite, but I thought this video might be quite good for people learning the game and just understanding some of the basic mechanics and fundamental skills of playing Fortnite. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will continue to upload Fortnite gameplay on the channel if you are interested and you want to subscribe. That would be awesome. If not, then I hope you take a few good tips away from this and get yourself a couple of wins. Anyways, go and enjoy the game, and I'll catch every single one of you in the next one.